Hi guys, and today we are doing the grade 10 June exam from 2023. Let's not waste any time and go straight to question 1. So for question 1 we are given that the figure ABCD is a rectangle with A, B, A and B, and then M is a point where the diagonals intersect, and then A and C lie on the X and Y intercept respectively. So let's just go straight to the question. For 1.1, here's 1.1, we are asked to determine the gradient of AB, and you can see A over here. So what I'll do, I'll just label A as 0.1 and then B as my 0.2, and we know that the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which then becomes y2 is 5 minus 0 over 2 minus negative 8, and that is 1 over 2. So very straightforward there. 1.1.2, we are asked to use analytical methods to determine the gradient of BC. Now BC is the line from B to C, and we can see that point C here is a y-intercept, but now we need to use analytical methods to determine the gradient of BC, and we are told that this is a rectangle, and we know with rectangles we have right angles here. So now when we see a right angle, we can say that BC is perpendicular to AB because this is a rectangle. Therefore, the gradient of BC multiplied by the gradient of AB is equal to -1, because we know that the product of gradient of perpendicular lines is equal to -1. Then now we don't know the gradient of BC, but we know the gradient of AB, which we found to be 1 over 2, is equal to -1. And then what we'll do here, we'll divide by 1 over 2 both sides, so divide by 1 over 2, and then the gradient of BC is then equal to -2. So very straightforward there. 1.1.3, we are asked that if the equation of BC is y plus 2x is equal to 9, determine the coordinates of C and M. Now, if you look at the equation y plus 2x is equal to 9, it's not in standard form, because we know that in standard form this is what? This is mx plus c. We must have something like this. So what we can do here, we can leave y on the left hand side and take 2 to the other side, which becomes -2x plus 9. Then we have a gradient of -2 and a y-intercept of +9. So we know that y is equal to mx plus c shows us c as the what? As the y-intercept. Fine. So now we know that the y-intercept x is equal to 0. So for 3.1 or 1.3.1, let me just change this. This is 1.3, and then now we're doing 1.3.1, so this is where it starts. 1.3.1, we need to find the coordinates of C, and C is the y-intercept, so we have to say that x is 0 at the y-intercept, and then y is 9. So very simple there. And then 1.3.2, we have to find the coordinates of M, and we know that this is 0 and 9. So now for us to find M, we can see that this was said, or this shape ABCD was said to be a a rectangle, and we know that in a rectangle diagonals bisect each other. So meaning that M is the midpoint of the diagonal B or the diagonal AC. So if you can find the midpoint of AC, then we can find the coordinates of M. So we know that M is a midpoint of AC. Therefore, the x value of the midpoint is x2 plus x1 over 2. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to label still my A as 0.1, and then my C will be my 0.2, and then the x value of 0.2 is going to be 0 plus negative 8. So the x value of 0.1 is negative 8 over 2, which then gives me negative 4. And then the y value of the midpoint is equal to y2 plus y1 over 2. So meaning that now I can use the y value of 0.2, which is 9, plus the y value of 0.1, which is 0, divided by 2, which is now 9 over 2. Then the midpoint, which is M, is equal to negative 4 and 9 over 2. So very simple there. And then for 9.4, it says that 1.4, in fact 1.4, it says that determine the coordinates of E if AC is extended by its own length from A to E. So we need to extend AC by its own length from A to E. So what we can do here, for us to find the coordinates of E, we are going to extend AC. So meaning that I'm going to extend AC here. So my extension, I'll do it using a green line. I'm going to extend AC to E such that this part is equal to this part. So meaning that such that AC is equal to CE. So I've extended AC by its own length, meaning that C will be the midpoint. So I'm going to make C the midpoint of this line. So I hope it's clear. I'm extending AC by its own length such that CE is equal to AC. So that is to extend AC by its own length. So meaning that now this, and you can also do it the other way. You can also do it you can also extend AC from A to another point, which is E here, and such that AC is equal to AE. So whichever way you want to explore it. In fact, let's just explore the negative part so that we can see it here. So here I've just extended AC by its own length such that AC is equal to AE. So now, meaning that A will be my midpoint. So whichever way you want to do it. So because A is my midpoint now, I know the x value of the midpoint is now equal to negative 8. Should be equal to x2. Let's just say this is going to be still, A is going to be 0.1 and then E is going to be 0.2. So x2 is the x value of E, then now plus the x value of the second point, which is M. So M, Remember m, we have the coordinates which is -4 and 9 over 2. So what we'll do here, so here we've just let me just do a diagram here. If we have, let's just say AC, here is A and then here is C. Extending AC by its own length would mean that now I'm going to create a new point here. Here's my new point, and then this is point E. But now AE is equal to AC. So meaning that A is now the midpoint, and then I'm going to use C, which is 0 and 9, and then E is unknown, which is X and Y, and then A is the midpoint, which is -8 and 0. So those are the coordinates that we're going to use here. So now if I'm going to substitute here, the x value of the midpoint is equal to x2 plus x1 over 2. So meaning that now the x value of the midpoint, the new midpoint is -8, is equal to, then the x value of point 2, remember we said that this is going to be our point 1 and then point 2, and then this is going to be our midpoint. So now x2 is equal to 0 plus, oh, let me just, yeah, x2 is x, then x1 is 0 over 2. Then what we can do now, we can say that 0 plus x is x, and then now we can cross multiply and get that x times 1 is x, is equal to then 8 times -8 times 2 is -16. Then now still the y value of the midpoint is equal to y2 plus y1 over 2. So meaning that now I'm going to take the y value of the midpoint, which is 0, is equal to, and then the y value of point 2 is unknown, so it's going to stay as y, and then the y value of point 1 is going to be the y value of point 1 is going to be 9 over 2 divided by 1, and then 9 y plus 9 multiplied by 1 is y plus 9, and then 2 multiplied by 0 is 0, and then y is equal to -9. So meaning that the point E is equal to -16 and negative. So that's how you find 1.4. 1.5, we are asked to calculate the length of CD. So let's look at CD here. To find the length of CD, we know that this is a rectangle, so meaning that this side is equal to this side, so meaning that AB is equal to CD. So if you can find the length of AB, then we can find the length of CD because they are equal. So what we'll do here, we'll say that for 1.5, the length of AB is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And we know that the length of AB is equal to the square root of x2. If you can look here, the point 2 is B and then point 1 is A. x2 is 2, and then what we're going to do, we're going to subtract -8 and square all of that, plus y2 y2 is 5 minus, and then y1 is 0. So x2 is 2 minus x1, which is negative 8, and then we have 5 minus 0 all squared. Then now we can just press that into your calculator. You'll find that the length of AB is equal to 5 root 5. So very simple there. And then now we know that CAB is equal to CD, which is also now equal to 5 root 5. And the reason why they are equal is because of their opposite sides. Let me just, their opposite sides of a rectangle. So they are opposite sides of a rectangle. Fine. Then the last question, 1.6. 1.6, let's just say 1.6. 1.6 says that if it is further given that BC is 2 root 5 units, calculate 1 to 1 decimal place the value of theta if theta is BAC. So let's look at BAC. So from B to A to C is theta, and we know that AB is 5 root 5, and they are saying that BC is 2 root 5. So here's 2 root 5. So meaning that now what we can do, we can redraw the triangle here. So this is what they're saying here. They're saying that we have 5 root 5 and a 2 root 5, and over here we have theta, and we need to find the value of theta. And we can see we have the side facing the angle, which is called the opposite, and then we have the side next to the angle, which is and there's a right angle here, which is called the adjacent. So meaning we can use any ratio that uses an opposite and an adjacent, and which happens to be tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So now we can say that tan theta is equal to, our opposite is 2 root 5 over, and then our adjacent is 5 root 5. So here's 5 root 5. So then now we need to say this is theta is equal to shift, and then now we have tan theta, or shift tan, and then this is going to be 2 root 5 over 5 root 5. Very simple there. And then when you press your calculator, your answer will give you 41,8. So very simple there. And then let's just look at the mark allocation. For 1.1, 1.1 was very easy here. You just had to calculate the gradient, and you get a mark for substitution and answer, and then that is your 2 marks. The next question is also 2 marks, to find the gradient of BC using the gradient of AB, because they are perpendicular to each other. So you get a mark for the method that the product of the two gradients is -1, and then you get a mark for the actual gradient, which is 2, -2. So that's your 2 marks. And then for the next question, which is 1.3.1, you had to find let's see, you had to find the coordinates of C. So for the coordinates of C, you get a mark for x is equal to 0, and then y is equal to 9. That's your 2 marks. And for the value of m, which is the midpoint, you get a mark for correct substitution in both formulas. So there's correct substitution, and then also oh, this is the wrong question. So it's correct substitution. There's correct substitution for x and y values, and then the value here of, or the coordinates of the midpoint. So that is 2 marks. And then we go to 1.4. So whichever method you use, remember there's two methods. You can extend E from C to E, or you can extend from A to E, whichever way you want. So the coordinates of E here will be or the mark allocation here would be you get a mark for the method used, which is the midpoint. Substitution, you get a mark there. You get a mark for the x value, you get a mark for the y value, and that's 3 marks. The next question is for us to find the length of CD, which is 3 marks. You get a mark for substitution into distance formula. You get a mark for the value of AB, and then you get a mark for CD, which is also 5 root 5, and then that's 3 marks. And then the last question, which is also 3 marks, is for you to find theta. So you get a mark for using the correct ratio, tan, and then you get a mark for substitution, and then you get a mark for the answer, which is 3 marks, and then together that is 17 marks.